For users, apps and documents are an integral part of their day-to-day experience on their devices. Using Jamf School, we can deploy apps and documents directly to devices so users have access to the tools they need to be successful. Once deployed, admins can use Jamf School to keep apps updated automatically, customize app settings based on organizational standards, and even remotely remove an app from a device when it's no longer needed. My name is Corey. Let's learn how to deploy apps and documents with Jamf School. Before we can deploy an app, we need to purchase some licenses for the app from Apple School Manager. So let's navigate to school.apple.com and log in with an Apple account that's associated with your Jamf School instance. After logging in, select Apps and Books in the sidebar. Using the search field, let's search for Jamf Teacher and select it. Here we have the option to buy and manage licenses. Even though this app is free, we are still required to buy licenses to use before we can deploy the app. In the Buy Licenses section, click the Assign To pop-up to choose the location associated with your Jamf School instance. Enter a quantity to specify the number of licenses needed for devices. For this example, I'm entering 20. When ready, click Get to finalize the purchase of the licenses. I'm also going to purchase licenses for Jamf School Student, Evernote, and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, but for the sake of time, I'm going to do that part behind the scenes so we can move on. With our licenses purchased, let's head to Jamf School. Navigate to Apps in the sidebar, and then click Inventory. If you don't see the apps that you previously purchased in the list, click Sync with Apple School Manager to update the list of available apps. Let's start by deploying the Jamf Teacher app. After selecting Jamf Teacher, we're given some additional information about the app, including a brief description, version number, and licensing information. We also have a few options to change the visibility of the app and prevent users from removing the app. For now, I'm leaving these settings as default, but be sure to review these options for each app and choose what's best for your environment. To deploy the app, click the plus sign on the bottom left and select the target group from the pop-up menu. If you haven't created any groups for your devices yet, be sure to create those before moving on. Check out the links in the resources if you need any guidance. Once assigned, we have the option to assign the app to another group, but for now, this is all I need. With our group assigned, we can now see some additional information about the devices that are in scope to receive this app, including device name, when the device last checked in, and the status of the deployment. Let's click Save to complete the assignment. Now that Jamf Teacher has been assigned to a group, let's go back to our application list by clicking Inventory. To deploy multiple apps at the same time, select the checkbox next to the desired apps and then click Edit Scope. Much like before, we have the option to select what groups to deploy the apps to under the Scope field. Next, we have the option to adjust whether this deployment will add the target groups to the current scope or replace the scope of all of the selected apps. Because I don't want to make any changes to the scope of the apps, I'm keeping Add Device Groups to Current Scope selected. Next, we can change the install type for the deployment. I want everyone in the group to have the apps immediately, so I'm keeping Automatic Installation selected. Finally, for volume assignment method, I'm keeping Assign Licenses to Devices selected. With the scope configured, click Save to deploy the selected apps. With the apps deployed, let's move on to Documents. Navigate to Documents in the sidebar and then click Inventory. Here we can see that Alice's Adventures in Wonderland has already synced with Jamf School from Apple School Manager. While deploying documents such as books and PDF files is very similar to how we deploy apps, documents can only be assigned to users with a managed Apple account that is associated with your Apple School Manager location. For more information about creating managed Apple accounts, check out the links in the resources. Unlike apps, any licensed books that are deployed, such as Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, can never have their license recovered when the book is removed from the device and will always be associated with that user. To make sure that we have users who can receive these documents, let's navigate to Users in the sidebar and then click Users. In order to properly deploy a document, the device must be tied to an Apple account. and the user must have been invited to our volume purchasing account. To invite users to volume purchasing, select the box next to the users you would like to invite, and then click Register Users with Volume Purchasing. We can choose to send the invite to the devices or to the emails associated with the users. For this example, I'll send it to my device. Once my device checks in with Jamf School, I'll receive a pop-up asking me to allow app and book assignments. Depending on when the device last connected with Jamf School, this may take a little while to appear. If you need it to happen sooner, we can use the refresh button in the device record to check in with the device manually, which should trigger the pop-up to allow the assignment. Once the invite is accepted, it may take a moment to update in Jamf School. So let's head to the dashboard and click Synchronize Now. Now if we go back to Documents Inventory, we can quickly deploy our book to the target group. For those organizations that have their own in-house documents to deploy, such as a lunch menu or student handbook, we can add them to Jamf School as well. Let's go back to our list of available documents and click Add Documents. We can drag and drop documents to add them to our inventory, or we can click to browse and find those documents to be added. Once added, we are immediately given the option to assign the document so it can be distributed to the target group. If you're not ready to assign the documents yet, you can go back to Inventory without assigning the document to a group. When a document is assigned, they can be found in the Books app on the device. Apps and documents play a huge role for our users, and setting up a good management foundation with Jamf School allows our users access to the apps and documents they need when they need them. Check out the Jamf School documentation for more information on app deployment and management, and be sure to try out deploying a few apps in your own environment. Thanks for watching.